The Overwatch League in its current form is done. The league itself hasn't announced anything yet, but OverActive Media, the parent company of the Toronto Defiant, has said that Blizzard has agreed to forgive millions of dollars in deferred franchising fees. Then, a follow-up report from SportsBusinessJournal confirmed that all existing Overwatch League teams would be offered the same result. It's the end of one of esports' biggest ever experiments, and its dismantling could change esports forever. Okay, folks, before we get into the video, I wanted to let you know that we've got a new show coming out this weekend, and I think you're gonna love it. It's called Into the Dark, and we're making it in partnership with Kraken Rum. It's this great dive into the stories behind gaming's biggest protagonists as they took these incredible leaps into the unknown and emerged victorious. It's unlike anything we've ever done before, and I know because I'm actually doing a lot of writing on this series, you're going to love it. So you can check out the first episode on June 10th. If that's too long to wait, we've already got a trailer up on the channel. The link is in the description below. Okay, so let's just quickly get up to speed. All the way back in January, esports journalist Jacob Wolf reported that Overwatch League teams had hired Sheridan's, a British law firm, to essentially negotiate on their behalf with the league, citing very high operating costs and disappointing revenue. Then in May, Activision Blizzard King revealed that their professional esports leagues, the Overwatch League and the Call of Duty League, were in dire straits. The reveal came as part of a 10Q filing, which is a quarterly filing that publicly traded companies are forced to make. If you want to go more in depth on those events, we have videos on both of them, but that should be enough to get you up to speed for what we're about to talk about. So it was pretty obvious that something had to change, and even Blizzard admitted that in that 10Q filing that I pointed out, where they essentially said it might not be possible to resolve these issues. Well, now we know what the first step to resolving this thing will be, and that is that Blizzard has forgiven franchising fees for OverActive Media, aka the Toronto Defiant, and presumably, based on reporting from SportsBusinessJournal, that will be offered to every Overwatch League team. See, when these teams joined the league, they agreed to pay tens of millions of dollars in order to do so, but they didn't have to pay all of that up front. A lot of it was deferred, and so those teams have these outstanding balances. Now Blizzard is saying, don't worry about it. We know this because OverActive Media, reportedly one of the organizations that had played a leading role in the effort with that British law firm, announced the agreement on Monday. They said that the elimination of the fees plus a sponsorship deal with Overwatch League of some kind represents a nearly $11 million value in Canadian dollars. So OverActive Media announced this, but the other teams didn't. And it's important to note that OverActive, who owns, again, the Defiant, are a publicly traded company, so this is something that they would likely need to disclose. At the same time, though, the Defiant were actually one of the league's first expansion teams, so it's likely they paid even more than those initial crop of teams based on reporting at the time. But a subsequent report by Hunter Cook and Kevin Hitt in SportsBusinessJournal said that the same resolution would be offered to all Overwatch League teams and may even be extended to teams in the Call of Duty League. The SportsBusinessJournal article quoted sources that said that teams in the Call of Duty League might ask Activision Blizzard for the same deal. And they also said that, quote, Allison Walker, Chief Commercial Officer of OAM, tells SBJ that we are open to having similar evolutionary conversations with Activision Blizzard on the Call of Duty League. Okay, but what does this actually mean for the future of the league? Well, the answer right now is we honestly don't know. The SBJ report I just mentioned also says that there are now provisions in place to allow for the entire thing to be changed going forward in terms of format and business model, etc. So you could expect to see some changes eventually, if not sooner rather than later. Whatever form these changes take, the admission from ABK that things do have to change means that CEO Bobby Kotick's vision of a prestige esports league competing with the NFL and NBA is dead now. But that professional sports model only works because leagues are able to give each of their teams a slice of a pretty big pie. The broadcast deal that gets sold to actually broadcast the NFL or the NBA or whatever. Overwatch League, as I've pointed out before, did try to use broadcast deals as part of their business model, seemingly. They signed deals with both YouTube and Twitch at various points. But clearly this was nowhere near enough, and as Blizzard's reputation suffered hit after hit from controversies, even advertising seemed like a difficult road to use for revenue. In a sense, even if we have something called the Overwatch League in the future, this change seems like an absolute death knell for the kind of franchising that became so popular in 2017. It's an admission that to have a league like the NFL or the NBA, you need to have some revenue, if not right away, then at some point. And with everything else that's happened, Kotick has just run out of time to make his dream a reality. Maybe it was never really that plausible, built as it was on guesses of future growth and bolstered by celebrity hype. But this is a firm rebuke to the idea that the only thing standing between esports and primetime success is a well-connected CEO who's as loved by other business people as he is disliked by his own customers. Listen, Overwatch League is not the only league to come up against difficulties. We're following the LCS walkout situation. I definitely recommend checking out Danny's excellent video on that for a good overview, but those changes that earned the ire of the Players Association were designed to lower costs for teams in the league. It seems obvious to me that franchising and the elimination of relegation in applicable esports and leagues was always going to lower the level of competition in the short to midterm. But the argument that that trade-off is worth it because of the financial stability offered to the teams and their business partners seems pretty foolish in hindsight. Now, the one thing I can say about this resolution is that it isn't the worst possible ending. No, this isn't a fly-by-night style retreat in the vein of Heroes of the Storm, where Blizzard killed off its players' esports dreams after a lengthy period of silence and dropped the announcement right before Christmas. Classic Blizzard. No, this outcome seems to suggest that Blizzard and its teams are very open to the possibility of future cooperation, whatever form that actually takes. I don't have these contracts in front of me, so I don't know for sure what Blizzard might have been able to do. And similarly, I wasn't in the room when Sheridan's was advocating on behalf of the Overwatch League teams, so I don't know what the teams might have threatened to do. It's nearly certain that Blizzard had a harder line they could have taken here, but they chose not to do that. Whether that was out of fear of their teams openly rebelling, or perhaps out of a genuine desire to just move this thing forward and find a solution that worked for everybody, it's what happened. Hopefully, that means that some of the impact of this thing on the esports industry itself can be moderated, and the deferred fees are a pretty good start. When reached for comment by SBJ, Blizzard said that they look forward to sharing more details with their players as they get closer to grand finals, so it's likely that we'll see some news about this new format and how the league will change soon enough. Now, allow me to wax poetically for a minute. I know, but I can't shake this feeling. Like, the summer of 2023, what we're going through right now is so different from the summer of 2017. But I remember that pretty clearly. I remember standing on our office balcony, frantically confirming details so we could break the story of the Houston Rockets' involvement in the LCS. Afterward, I remember going to get some more fresh air, staring up at the Toronto skyline and thinking, shit, is this actually happening? It turns out it was all a bad dream, if not a complete nightmare. Now, all that's left is to interpret the signs and figure out how we can move forward. I don't know, I hope if you're in the area of the smoke, I mean, there's many areas of the smoke now, stay inside. I've been chilling down here. I got an air filter that I run when I'm not filming. I don't want that smoke, you know? Not in the figurative sense or the literal sense, I don't want that smoke.